Aloha kakahiaka Kaʻea with Kapa Hawaiian FM. Another edition of the Kapa Cafe on this beautiful Aloha Friday. Mahalo to our sponsor, Kona Grillhouse, Brian and the gang. You can make that daily special order at 323-3512. And as promised, this Aloha Friday, speaking with us, Hawane Rios. Aloha kakahiaka.
Kakahiaka nui akako. Aloha nui.
You know, I was thinking the other day as we were planning this interview, and not to get all choked up, but I was thinking years ago, I was in touch with your mom for something. I think it was a hula something. And she said, my daughter's coming back. And you came, we planned for you to come to the station. Do you remember that? You had you weren't even home back to Hawaii for maybe a week, if that. And you were away for a long period of time on a remote island doing your thing. And then you came home, and here we are in 2020 talking story and your journey. So Hawane, I mean, from that moment in time till now, the woman that you've become.
Blessings and blessings to that journey and that moment. You know, I was just talking about Kire and Holaniku and being out there for 7 months and the things that I learned out there. It's been such a beautiful, reflective moment just in this time where we get to just kind of sit with our memories. And I'm so grateful to you and Jazz for inviting me into the studio right after I came back home. It was such a beautiful way to be welcomed back into the ao, you know, and to reflect about music and celebrate music and ground in that, because that experience was so huge and so big. And so to be able to have had a moment with friends and family and just be held by the music, that was so important in coming back home. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much for holding that space.
It's, you know, we were airing your song before you were even home, if I'm not correct me if I'm wrong, but we were airing your song, we had it, and we didn't have an opportunity to speak with you directly until you got home.
Yeah.
I remember not understanding, what do you mean, where is she? I couldn't
understand
until you came to the studio that day, and I was like, holy smokes, you are back into the reality of people and world and community and cars and restaurants and streets.
Well, yeah, just to give everybody context, I was out on Kire Atoll, known as Holaniku as well, which is the last atoll in the Hawaiian chain. And I was there for 7 months with 4 other people. And so there was no cell phones. There was hardly any internet. All we had was email. And while I was out there, my mom was writing to me about Poliahu Ike Kapu getting onto the radio, and that you guys were the first ones to be about it and to really open up the conversation about Mauna Kea. And I cannot express my gratitude to you guys for that, and for really understanding that aloha for the Mauna all those years ago, and for being the first people to really talk about it and put so much love into opening up dialogue about sacred spaces, and to have been all the way on Holaniku, which is a part of the Emperor Seamounts. And so there are massive mountains going all the way up to the Aleutians, and Hawaii is a part of that chain. And so Holaniku was once above water. And so to have come from the tallest mountain to the lowest atoll, there's something so special and ceremonial about that. And to have known that I was singing that song all the way there while you guys were playing it all the way over here, there's something just so magical about that. And for that island to have heard music in Olelo, Hawaii after a long period of not having that there, thank you for being a part of that.
That's such a great connection there.
Yes.
You shared that mele, and that kind of started this journey, and here we are in 2020. And as I'm looking at the Nahoku Hano Hano Award ballot, I'm kind of blown away at going, wow, this is such a trip and so cool. Hawane Rios, you know? Although it's, you know, because when you're standing side by side and you're, you know, sending the pule up to our mauna and we're having all these community things happening, it's so interesting to see this other facet of your life. Another facet of your life is Hawane Rios, the artist now. What has that been like for you?
You know, I was just talking with my mom about that, you know, that this music really started. It began with a love for stories about Mauna Kea and wanting to remember that. Like my first song I ever wrote is called Kukahau'ula, and I'm returning back to rewriting that song right now because I wrote it long time ago. And it started with that i'ini to remember mo'olelo. So much of what our kupuna left for us are in mele and oli. And I wanted to offer my voice and my love for music as a part of that legacy, to write about this time, to write about what's happening in Hawaii, what's happening on the front lines, the things that are going on that we're seeing in the evolution of our people, so that the next 7 generations will have something to look back onto and see, oh, that's the perspective of someone who lived in that time. And these music, you know, this music, these songs, it's saying we're still here and we've survived. Somebody kept on singing, somebody kept on chanting so that we could. And now we are a part of that legacy of continuing to do that. And, you know, with the frontline stands on Mauna Kea and the advocacy work that we've put into it, music has been such a part of weaving this together so that we have these offerings that we present to other people, other movements around the world that are tied together by our sacred songs and by our sacred knowing of water, and that water gives life and that land gives life. And all of these songs really, really just are my heart offerings to that truth. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to now have these experiences and have a catalyst to express the love and the dedication to this way of life of aloha aina through a medium that our ancestors passed down to us, it just feels so led and guided. And I'm just really honored and moved to be able to even be a part of creating in this time.
Mm-hmm. You know, you speak of your mom, and there's so much that she's done. Your ohana, period. You know, when you speak of mo'olelo and your writing and today where you are, how do I say this? You know, because your mele are really focused in on those special names, environmental awakenings of those ike ku'una or ike kupuna. So I don't want it, your writing has really taken on more of the mo'olelo and poetry of not just today, but interweaving what you've absorbed from the Mauna to what it means to you today. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You know, I feel like every story about land is a story about love. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I can still remember that first mo'olelo that I ever was told, the one that I was talking about kukahau'ula and poli'ahu. That story is so significant to me because it was also the first story that I ever understood completely maka'olelo Hawaii. So I was in my second year learning Hawaiian, struggling through the Kaka'ula program. I, you know, was really trying to, you know this, you know how.
I know this very well, girl.
And I was just beginning to understand, just coming out of Ola Naivi programs where all we're doing is talking in Hawaiian and start to dream in Hawaiian. All of those things started to come during that time when I heard this mo'olelo from Auntie Ku'ule Keakealani. And so for me, that was such a pivotal moment in my life to pivot me from, you know, just kind of in this space of trying to understand mo'olelo kahiko, trying to understand our histories through English, into being able to finally recognize mo'olelo through the language of our ancestors, and then have also the i'ini of remembering what that felt like through mele, because that song, what it sounds like to me is that love story. Mm-hmm. And I woke up every single day just to see the sunrise and the sunset, because that is the whole Ailona that Kukaha'ula is making his way up to love Poliahu for eternity, and to like fall in love with that love through mele. Like, that was so healing for me, such medicine. Mm-hmm. And so that's the energy and the intention that I put into writing now in both languages, in English, in Hawaiian, in spoken word, because all of it is expression, and all of it, it's like a fingerprint. Every song is like a fingerprint. It has its own frequency. And what I hope with this music is that, you know, it touches people in the way that it's meant to, you know, and that's just, yeah, that's really what it's meant for.
You know, you guys, you yourself have made your way around the world sharing mele, speaking and holding those sacred spaces very close through mele, standing with others, other Native people. I get chicken skin as I talk about this. Share a little bit about what that was like, and where those locations were, because just as they actually, many of them came to stand on the mauna, but you folks were there standing with them. Give us a few examples of that.
Oh, you know, it's been such a powerful journey following my mom, you know, really riding on her coattails to all of these places. You know, she's really opened up so many different relationships with other people that the Mauna has really opened up. You know, this movement has really taken us onto so many different pathways, and one led to the Winwamwintu and their Mauna Buyumpuyuk. They're trying to stop the Shasta dam raise and get their salmon, their indigenous salmon, which is their aumakua, back into their river. And Chief Colleen Sis talks about how through the ocean and the currents and the underneath in the tectonic plates and that Papa Honua, their Mauna is connected to Mauna Kea. And so our movements are ancestral. Our movements for water are so deeply ancestral, because our mountains have been talking to each other for long before we were even here. And so to come together in ceremony and bring our chants to their lands, they bring their songs to our lands, that is a conversation that is a continuance of what our mountains already know. And then going from there to Standing Rock, to North Dakota, to the land of the Nakota people, to bring our water from Mauna Awakea to the waters of the Cannonball River, to stand with a people that have seen so much destruction and disrespect onto their mo'aukala, and to see thousands rise to come together for water, and to be a part of that, for Hawaii to be a part of that movement. That was so powerful. And to see our own Kanaka there for months. We had people that were representing Hawaii there for months, like Uncle Earl, like Auntie Dina, Malia. They stayed and they represented for us there. And that kind of solidarity, that indigenous love, that is what I believe our ancestors prayed for us to know. Mm-hmm. You know? And so it's like these movements, they're not just movements for right now, they're movements for the next 7 generations to come. People will be talking about Standing Rock for a long time. They're going to be talking about Mauna Kea for a long time. And that makes me so happy to know that it's going to live on. Mm-hmm. It is, and I can feel that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's true. You know, continuing on in your legacy that you are creating, I mean, you are in the midst of creating this for your time here on this earth. If you could choose a song, I know it's so difficult, but if you could choose one song that speaks to your heart at this moment, one that, you know, like you were saying when you first wrote that first one, which is the one of your many songs that's speaking to you at this moment during this time of pause?
You know, one song that I've been sitting with and singing a lot because I've been invited to, you know, we have a lot of digital exchanges now because of what's happening in this world. And so the songs that I've leaned on have been very similar in every time that I've been asked to present anything. And it's Together We Rise has been the one that I've felt called to continue to share and to sing, because that song, it was written on the front line. It was written right after the first 31 arrests of the Kaʻea and the Mauna. And it echoes the words of Auntie Luana Neff, who says that aloha is a firm commitment to pono. And I wrote that song to remind myself in the hard times what aloha means and what aloha is, and what ho'okahi ka'umauma, ho'okahi pu'uwai means, to stand and be of one chest and one heart. And we need that right now. We need to remember that right now, that lokahi that we felt on the Mauna, you know, bringing that into our everyday, into our community when there is a time of rest. These are the times when we learn that those lessons and like really deepen our lessons in that. And really leaning to the words of Hale Makua, because I sing his name in this mele. And if you don't know who Hale Makua is out there, he was an incredible man who embodied aloha in every way. And these are his words. He says, to love all you see with humility, to live all you feel with reverence, and to know all that you possess with the heart of discipline. And it's this time where we are refining our disciplines and our connections to one another and to the land, and to really reassess where we're at, what we've been taught, what we've learned from living in this time, and what now we have to unlearn, and how to give ourselves that moment and that compassion and that understanding that everyone on this planet is learning something and going through something. And together we can shift and make big changes, and it starts within us first. And that's what this song really calls to, is what is kukia'i mauna, to embody the protection of the mountain, and then to also embody the lessons of what this mauna teaches us, and to carry that through in all of our walks of life. I still have so much to learn and so much to redefine in my life. And so sometimes leaning on our own medicine is a part of that learning. And so that's the song that's really been my companion in this time.
We're going to get into that song so that you can feel and reassess, and exactly what you said. You know, it's so funny. I'm going, oh my gosh, Oprah Deepak could totally use some of this action now, girl.
That's real.
You know, Hawane, I'm going to, of course, this is airing on air at 99.1, 100.3. This is airing on our Kapa Facebook. Is there a link? How do we get your music? How do we get our communities to get this particular mele and or all of Hawane's music?
Okay, so there's hawanerios.com. And so if you want the physical copy, you can order from there, or you can Facebook my mom, because she has the physical copies, and this is what it looks like. And this is the inside. And so it's meant, this is a beautiful capture by Uncle Tom Kuali'i, and it's meant to like sit wherever you want to place it, and you can put a candle and your prayer out to the Mauna. That's what we decided to really craft this offering with, is a sacred space to hold that. So if you want the physical copy, that's the way to get it. And then digital is online on iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer, and follow me on Instagram as well, because I'll put out links to where you can buy it. It's very easy, just with a swipe up. And you can also check out my YouTube. There's a few music videos out there right now for Manawahine and Directions. And you can also listen to this album on YouTube as well.
How exciting. Very 2020, girl. It's awesome.
Very 2020 out here.
I love it. You know, and for those that are listening again, you know, inspiration, dedication, kupa'a in all things. We just, on behalf of Jazz and myself and everyone here at Kapa, we just send you the best, Hawane, and so excited to be together in this lifetime through this journey, and the honor of sharing your music with everyone worldwide. It's such an honor.
I'm so moved and so grateful for all of you at Kapa, and I'm so grateful for you, Kaʻea. Thank you so much for all of you.
And I love your family too. That, you know, and I love your parents.
They're the best.
Right? I don't have mine on earth anymore, so whenever I get a chance to be with yours, I super appreciate it.
Oh, I love that. They're here for so many of us.
I know. Sorry. Hawane, love you so much, sis. And again, HawaneRios.com. Follow her on Instagram. And of course, right below this video, you can actually get the link to HawaneRios.com, so you can get the CD and have that tangible copy and put it on your favorite space and listen to Hawane music. Mahalo, Hawane, and ke aloha ia ʻoe.
Ke aloha nui ia ʻoe. Mahalo nui.